You know, folks, Donald Trump truly does have one of the most fragile egos that I've ever seen, and definitely the most fragile ego of any president that I've seen in my lifetime. I used to think that George W. Bush had one, but man, he can't hold Donald Trump a lot to see by in this department because Trump has to be praised constantly. He constantly has to be praised. He constantly has to be told that he was a winner. He constantly has to be told that he's the best in the room. And if he's not, he literally pouts and gets on social media and types in all caps like your drunk uncle would do. And it's one of those things where that, let's say that I had been a Republican. I really do believe that his typing in all caps on Twitter would have been a major deal breaker for me because it just comes off so insecure and it comes off so third grade. No disrespect to third graders, but it just comes off so childish that there's no way that I could have rolled with that. Even if if you took everything else off the table and just left his social media tantrums and his nicknames for people, I could never get behind that just because it's so childish. I want y'all to take a look at this clip from CNN where they put together a string of clips of his cabinet just praising him and just telling him how great he is and just telling him what a winner he is. I know we say they're in a cult, but this is Exhibit A as to what we're talking about when we say that. Take a look.
Under your leadership, we are going to revitalize and make shipbuilding and maritime great again.
At the Trump EPA, we're going to make it proud.
The honor and respect we have for each other is a reflection of you and your leadership.
Thanks to your leadership.
You were overwhelmingly elected by the biggest majority.
Well, Mr. President, thank you for your leadership at the border.
Thanks to your fantastic leadership.
So the American worker is grateful. Main Street is grateful for you.
Now, I know I'm always talking about Jonestown and Manson family documentaries when talking about Donald Trump, and that's because they're so close to the same thing. But I have saw Jonestown documentaries where it will talk to the survivors, the people that made it out of Jonestown, and people will ask them, why did you stay? Why did you not leave? And they will talk about how they feared for their lives. And so they just constantly told Jim Jones what a great man he was and how that they knew he was a child of God and all this BS. They sat and told him that and pumped his ego because they were scared to death of him. And that's honestly how that comes off. It just comes off like, hey, we're scared of you and we're going to sit here and we're going to heap our praise on you so that you won't get mad at us and so you won't go roasting us on social media and so you won't go sicken your followers on us. I mean, again, I know a lot of people gets upset that we call it a cult, but folks, that's exactly how it looks. And as I sit there and watch that, I watch this grown man having to be sit there and be praised that way. I say to myself, I don't need that, and I never have. I've got 5 kids. I recently took them on a family vacation. We hadn't been on one in a long time, and we finally went. And after it was over, the kids was like messaging me going, Dad, thanks. That really meant a lot to us. Thanks for that trip, Dad. And I was like, you don't have to thank me. I'm glad we got to do it. Like, don't say thank you. While we were there, they were thanking me for the food. They were thanking me for things. I was like, no, don't worry about it. And if there had come a moment in that trip where someone had said, hey, let's sit here and talk about what a great guy Dad is. Let's heap praise on him. Like, hey, stop. Listen, I don't need that. That's ridiculous. Don't do that. I love you. You don't have to sit and blow smoke up my ass. That's because I'm confident in my own skin. I don't need to have their praise heaped upon me. I don't need people to tell me I'm great every day. I don't need people to tell me that I'm number one. I don't need people to tell me that I'm a winner. I don't need that shit. But he's so fragile that he does, and his followers will sit there and get behind it, either A, because they're in on the grift with him and they want to stay on his good side, or B, they're sitting there scared to death of him, one. But either way you slice it, that should not be the President of the United States. I've never seen a president sit and be blown like that on national TV. I've never seen anyone sit and heap praise. And again, I used to think George W. Bush and his antics, which I've never given that guy a pass. He was a terrible president. But I used to think that a lot of his antics were childish and over the top. But I didn't even see people sit and praise him that way. I didn't see people sit and blow Ronald Reagan that way. I mean, this is just over the top flattery, over the top. You're number one, you're the best. And when you hear these people talk, I mean, every day when I log on and I'm looking and I'm catching up on things and I'm watching these clips of people, his supporters and cabinet members on Fox News talking, folks, they're truly delusional. They're truly delusional, sitting there talking about how this is the greatest time in American history. It was the greatest day ever. We just saw the most historic day in the history of the world. And they just sit there and say it over and over and over. And again, you have to ask yourself, do they really believe this? Or are they just in on the grift? Or are they scared to death? But either way you slice it, it's just classic cult-like behavior that should have never been anywhere near the Oval Office. If you have a cult leader for a president, you have a dictator for a president, because cult leaders are dictators. They rule over their flock, and their flock has no say in things. And if their flock speaks out against them, the rest of the flock gets sicked on them. They immediately get demonized and vilified. You watch any cult documentary, you'll hear the survivors talk about how that if they questioned Charlie for 1 second, they were out. As a matter of fact, there's one documentary on the Manson family where one person had a disagreement with Charles Manson, and they took him for a walk and they never seen him again. The girl said, yeah, we saw Charlie and Tex just took him for a walk out in the desert and came back alone, and we never asked where he went. Well, that's a cult documentary. You expect that when you're watching that, but that shouldn't be the president of the United States. And I'll keep saying this till the day I die. I would just prefer to have a president that was boring. I would prefer to have a president that was just up there doing his job, doesn't have to entertain me with his WWE theater, doesn't have to sit and say any of those things, doesn't have to sit and type in all caps, doesn't have to make me feel better about myself or make me feel like I'm winning anything. I'm doing okay in life, okay? I'm doing okay in life. I'm content. I don't need praise. I don't need a leader. I don't need a hero. I don't need someone constantly telling me that I'm number one and that I'm winning, because I'm not over here trying to punch down at anybody. You know, I don't have to put myself up here on some pedestal. But his followers are just like him. He's a weak and fragile dude, and he has attracted weak and fragile people. And they need to be told every day that they're winning. And therefore, they live in this alternate reality. They really do. And I know some people may think that that's, me being, condescending. It's not. I really believe sometimes you can be judgmental, and then sometimes you're just calling it like it is. My grandpa said something one time years ago, and I never forgot it. In the Bible, it says, judge not that you be not judged. So my grandpa would say something about a certain person, whoever it was. He would say something, and someone would say, well, now hold on a minute, Papa. The Bible says you're not supposed to judge people. And my grandpa said, yeah, but the Bible also says you will know them by their fruits. And he said, that guy right there's got some bad fruit. I'm not judging him. I'm just being a fruit inspector. And I always loved that. I thought, that's what we're doing. We're not sitting over here passing judgment on these people. We're just being fruit inspectors here. We're just inspecting the fruit, and it's pretty damn rotten. And it's pretty crazy that people needs to live in a world where they get patted on the back that much by a dude who needs to be patted on the back constantly. It's truly ridiculous. I'm truly grateful for every subscriber I've got. I'm truly grateful to all of you for your emails. I'm trying my damnedest to get through them all. I appreciate the praise that you give me. I appreciate the encouragement that you give me. But I'm not sitting here every day begging you for it, and I'm not going to kick you off my channel if you don't give it to me, okay? Because that's not the type of person I am. I'm confident in the platform that we've built, and I don't have to punch down at other people, and I don't have to sit and just be worshipped constantly. So I truly do appreciate all of you for your support. We're cruising now toward 1 million subscribers. I never thought we'd get there, but I do believe we will. We'll probably get there before the end of the year if we keep going at the rate we're going. So hit that button, share the channel, let people know where it's at. We got new people coming on every day, discovering me for the first time, and I'm truly grateful to all of you as well. For those of you who have been around for a long time, thank you so much. For those of you who are just sitting down at the table, welcome. We'll always be sitting here calling it out. We'll always be sitting here telling the truth. And I love y'all, but you do not have to sit and tell me that I'm number one every day of my life.